Hi, my name is JJ Asgar, and I'm a developer advocate for the IBM Cloud. Today I'm going to be showing off how to get a very simple static website on something called Code Engine. At this exact moment in time, today is March 19th, Code Engine is still in beta, but it will be GA'd very soon, and I kind of want to just show how easy it is to bring this all together. I'm going to be using something called Hugo. We're going to create a container. Then we're going to actually push Hugo up into, or the code up into GitHub. And then we're going to have GitHub attach, or Code Engine attached to GitHub and be able to actually deploy it for us automatically. And I'll actually show a couple other things. But the goal here is to show you how easy it is to bring this all together. I will be doing this live, so there might be a couple stumbles here and there, but that's kind of the beauty of it. And I want to show how easy it is to bring this all together. So let's get started. So as you see here, I have a machine called Code Engine because I'm really bad at naming things. It's just a Ubuntu box. And the first thing we need to do is install something called Hugo, which is the static site generator. So I'm going to do install Hugo. And as you can see, I've already installed it because this is actually the second time I've done this. I'm going to be a good citizen and create a code directory. And inside of my code directory, I'm going to create a new directory called Code Engine Hugo v2. Give me a second here. I'm looking at my notes. And then what I've done is I've created that exact same repository on GitHub, and we're going to start playing around there. So if I go ahead and create that, I go into Code Engine v2. What I will do now is I will do Hugo, actually, take that back. I'm not going to do that directory. What I will do is I will do Hugo, new site, Code Engine, Hugo v2, because I actually want all the code to be in the same directory, because I want the repository to be the home here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is git init to make sure it's a Git repository. I'm going to do a sub-module install of what's called a theme for Hugo. It's just to make it look a little bit prettier, that's all. And install that. There we go. So if we now see inside of themes, we have this Anarchy directory. What I will do is I will make sure that the config.toml has it. So if you do cat config.toml, as you see that, it's called my new site. And I will now add that theme. I will go ahead and just create one first post just to make sure everything's working how I expect it to. There we go. So if I go into posts, oops. Vim content posts, my first post, as you see here, and false. Make sure this is no longer a draft, and this is a first post. There we go. So now we have our first post. Wonderful. So just to verify that everything's working how I wanted to, I'm going to go ahead and run Hugo server -d. And as you see here, the bind address is localhost, which is a little bit of a problem because I wanted to do it from outside. So what we will do here is --port, I believe it's bind 0000 --port 8080. There we go. So now we're listening to all addresses on that. So what I will do is I will bring over that same right here, do 192.48.80.80, and we see now our first post. So we know now Hugo is running how we want. So this is my microservice, right? Me showing off how to get a little microservice to work on serverless. This is just a real simple example, and also it's a great way to show you how to bring Hugo up and running. But that's not the important part, right? The more important thing is we need to actually get this to be containerized and then hooked into Code Engine. So what I will do now is I will create a very basic Docker file from that I found, which is right here. As you see here, oops, that is not what I wanted. RM Docker, oops, interesting. So I'll grab this Docker file here, and then I will take these right here. There we go. So as you see, I'm pulling it in from this repository. I'm going to add everything in this directory into src where Hugo runs. I'm going to expose port 8080 and then run the server just like we did earlier. So now, if I do EOF, we now have a Docker file in our repository, or in our Hugo site. So what I will do now is I will go ahead and push this into our repository here. So let's go ahead and do git add period, and then git remote add origin here. Wonderful. I will go ahead and create a branch of main, which is what I was hoping for. And then I will go ahead and push that up into, oops, git remote remove, or del origin, isn't it? Oh, it's remove. It is remove. Move. And I will go ahead and put this on as SSH instead. Go ahead and push that up. And then go ahead and do push origin main. Git status. Git commit dash m initial commit. Oh, I gotta change it to main now. There we go. And now I will push to main. There we go. So now, sorry about that, but like I said, I was doing this live. Now we have our code on GitHub. Just 29 seconds ago, everything is there, including our Docker file. Very, very important here. So now that we have our Docker file and all, just for sanity's sake, we're going to go ahead and do docker build-t JJ Asgar Code Engine Hugo v2 and period. This is just to make sure that this works how we expect it to, right? Like, we have our code, we've made it, we've tested it, everything looks better, but we need to actually see that it works. So I'll do now docker run-it rm-p 8080 8080 JJ Asgar Code Engine Hugo v2 latest, and then the actual command to run it is server. And now, as you see, we're running the exact same things we were hoping for. And I will come over here and cut this out and open up another incognito window just so we know we're not looking at anything cached. And there it is. Wonderful. We have our first post. Everything looks better. Our actual Hugo site is up and running. Wonderful. So let's now go ahead and take that. We should know how docker PSA. We now have our hello world, and no longer because of that RM, which is good. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and bring up Code Engine. So now that we have a working repository on GitHub with our microservice of Hugo, now we can actually play around inside of Code Engine. So I go to Code Engine here, right off of IBM Cloud. I'm going to take my repository that I have here, which is HTTP, copy, and I'm going to put it right here, which is playing with the source code. This is very important. I want to play with the source code. I mean, I can run the container image directly, but I want to show the ability to actually pull down directly from GitHub. So GitHub now has all my state, which is very important. Okay, so I went ahead and did that. It's going to be an application. The name is fine. If you are doing this for the first time, you will need to create a project. I already have one. It's called JJ Testing because I'm unique like that. And then I tell it the source code, and there it is right there. Now we got to hit these build specify details. With the source repository, the branch name is main. The context directory this is where, as it says here, the path for the source, it is slash is what we are hoping for. And then hit next. Now I need to tell it where the Docker file is, and the Docker file is in the root directory as we expected. And then I'm going to create under my namespace Hugo, and then we'll call it sure, that looks good. And this needs to be unique. So we'll go ahead and just we'll do V1. Let's just do V1. So I'll go ahead and done. And then I will hit create. Wrong supported format. What does that mean? Build. I believe it's because I did that. Next. Next. JJ. As you see, I've done this a couple times. V1. Property value name has invalid support. It is probably that period right there. There we go. So don't put periods in your names. Okay. All right, so we are deploying it now. This looks like it should be, it's actually going to be building it for us too, which will be nice. Let's see here. And it's pulling directly from GitHub, as we were saying. I'll go ahead and launch the logging here. This is something called log DNA, and it will give us the output of what's going on, as you see here. It is live, which is really neat. So if you start seeing issues or things like that, log DNA will give you the visibility of what you need to see. And there we go. We're pushing. We've built successfully, and we've pushed into Docker Hub. And we are still deploying this, which is what we were hoping for. I'm pretty sure it's going to pull it down and then start it, and we should see our output here in a moment. Still deploying. There we go. It is now ready. One instance. We should see something else here in a moment. Still bringing it up. It is ready. It is deploying. There we go. And there's my Hugo site. So as you see, it all came together. And there is our actual start as we were expecting, and our local host binding to everything. So now I actually have my Hugo site, my container actually running how I expected it to. So hopefully you've learned something here. This is a relatively quick video of just kind of walking through the process. But what I did is I took a basic Hugo instance, I installed it, I turned it into a container, verified it worked on my local machine, then I just pushed it all directly up into Code Engine, and then actually deployed it and changed it. In the next video, what I'll do is I'll show how to add another post to it, just so you can kind of see that, and then actually manipulate some of the variables around, so we can actually work from there too. And then eventually what I'll do is I'll put in 2 different services, so 2 different microservices can talk to one another, and that'll be part 3. But this is just part 1, and hopefully you learned something. If you ever need have any questions or thoughts, never hesitate to reach out. I'm glad to help. Take it easy, y'all.